many times have we done this, DP?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's see what happens here. Oh my goodness, DP. This thing...
Welcome back to our sports sedan build-off. I bought this cheap 2008 Honda Civic Si sedan, and Pete spent bigger bucks on an E90 M3. But that means I've got a lot more budget to build the Civic, and as you can see, I'm gonna need it. We got down to the business of making more power by installing a Kraftwerk supercharger kit. From there, we installed a 6-piston big brake kit from K-Tuned, as well as Annex Club Spec Pro coilovers, before doing a major undercarriage cleanup. Then it was time to install the FD2 Civic Type R exterior bits. I think you'll agree that the Team Underdog Civic has been fully transformed into a serious-looking sports sedan. The only thing left to do is to take it to the dyno and see what kind of power it makes.
Now we need to make one last mechanical change to the engine setup, and that is for a very good reason. As you guys can see, we have a K24 crank pulley, which is what we were using. This is the factory K20Z3 crank pulley, and you can see the diameter is different on them. There are actually I think there's like 5 or 6 different variations for the K20 and K24 motors for pulley sizes. And it's no big deal if you're naturally aspirated. However, because we have that Roadtrek supercharger on it, with this K24 pulley that we originally installed, we would be at 102,000 RPM on the Roadtreks at 7,800 RPM as our max rev limiter. Therefore, we would be overspinning it by 2,000 RPM because we'd be at 102,000. So to avoid that, we are going to go back down to a smaller pulley, which is the K20Z3 one. This will allow us to be well under that 100,000 RPM max spin limit. And a big thanks to Julian, who actually pointed this out to us and probably saved a supercharger rebuild for us. Without him, we would have just kept running this K24 pulley. And thanks to Mike over at PM AutoWorks, who had this one kicking around last minute for me. I was like, I need one right away. We got to get this swapped over. So thank you guys for that.
Okay, we are here at Tuning by Nick's shop in Mississauga, Ontario. The car is strapped down to the Dyno Jet, and we're gonna play a little game called Guess the Horsepower. We're not gonna let Nick play. He's tuned enough of these cars. He's got an unfair advantage, but I do have one previous personal experience with a Roadtrek Supercharged K24, my old EG. It made 412 at the wheel on a different dyno. I don't think this is quite as spicy. I had a ported cylinder head and cams and stuff in my motor, so I'm gonna say 395 wheel. How about you, PT?
I'm gonna say 375.
375, he's always a pessimist, everybody, always a pessimist. Nick from Tuning by Nick, mid-dyno session update because we're not making all the boosts.
No, we're not.
What's going on?
Yeah, so that's the thing with superchargers. You never know how much they're actually going to make when you have a weird combination of parts.
Yeah.
So.
Are you accusing this car of having a weird combination of parts?
Never.
Well, what we do have is an off-the-shelf kit for a K20
Yes.
with a K24 bottom end.
Yes.
You guys have already seen our struggles with all the weirdness that happened as a result of that, but we think it's stock cams.
Yeah.
So we don't think it's like too much overlap in the cams that are causing this. But you were
No.
saying earlier that a more aggressive cam with more overlap can cheat boost or lower the
You
boost
lose
level.
boost out the exhaust. So
Right. But we don't think that's the issue.
no, I don't think
So
so.
we're thinking maybe it's either belt slip or a
either-
boost leak in the system somewhere.
Yeah, it's either belt slip, slight boost leak, or just the wrong combination of pulleys.
Interesting. Well, we do have another pulley. We
Yep.
do have that K24 pulley that we can put on there.
Yep.
It's bigger, so it should make more boost. So that's the easy code.
Yeah.
Rather than taking this bumper off and looking for boost leaks.
Yeah.
Well, we do have a shorter belt as well, so we could put the shorter belt on to add some belt tension and see if that's it.
I think it's good, test out the shorter belt, see if we can get more tension out of the belt and see if it's actually slipping. If
Yeah.
there's no difference, then
We'll know it's not a belt slip
it's
issue.
not slipping.
And then maybe we just swap the bigger pulley. Time for PT's favorite job. Fitting the belt in here for like the 18th time.
Exactly. How many times have we done this, DP?
It's crazy.
Oh, goodness.
Chasing
So,
our tails on this for weeks, it feels like, but at least we're learning some things here on the dyno, so we'll get some definitive answers about belt slip or belt width.
yes, and this is what size is this?
This is a 1780 7
80.
rib, and we also just bought a 1790 6 rib, so we can test the width. If it's
Maybe it could be rubbing
ever so slightly on
along
the bracket
here. We just
so-
don't know if it's rubbing hard enough. If we show you the old belt here, let me just grab that real quick. You can see here, it is not just like touching. Seeing this is a little concerning, that it is like actually rubbing and starting to burn through the cord, which who knows, like this resistance might be nothing, or it could be 3 PSI worth. And the belt drama continues. Our 1780 does not fit, it is too short. So on goes the 6 rib 1790, which barely fit, but we got it on there. The downside is, you can see now it is a 6 rib, but it's not gonna rub the housing. So we're just gonna send it, see if it makes any differences now.
All right, fellas, quick update. We did a pull with that 6 rib, slightly shorter belt with good tension in it, and we made basically exact same horsepower. It picked up 5 wheel just because the car's been sitting for an hour and it's cooled off, but same amount of boost, still at 7 pounds of boost. So we don't think it's a belt issue. It's not rubbing anymore. It should have good tension in it. It's not like nosing over, which would suggest belt slip. So we are going to swap the crank pulley now to the larger diameter K24 pulley, which should, in theory, give us more boost. It'll also limit us for RPM because we don't want to overspin that charger, so we're gonna have to limit it down to say 7,500 RPM, but this will at least give us some more information about what's going on here. All right, fellas, we have settled on our final numbers here, and the red line here that goes to just shy of, what's that, 7,800?
Yeah.
Or 79, let's call it. That was with the smaller K20 Z3 crank pulley, and it made a peak number of 361, 248 torque. And then we went to the larger K24 pulley, trying to see if we could get more boost out of it, because we only had 7 pounds of boost.
7 pounds of boost on that red line.
Right. So then on the blue line with the larger K24 pulley,
Yep.
we saw 8 pounds.
8 pounds revving to about 74.
70, yeah, you can see
75.
just a hair over 74.
Yeah.
And we picked up 10 wheel and a whole lot of torque, and then we spun it up to what we think is the limit of the supercharger at 7,800 with this combination of pulleys. And that got us up to 384 and 270 foot-pounds.
At
So
an absolute peak of 9 pounds. Right at red line.
right at Redland. So we're thinking, if we added another 300 RPM, we'd get to 10 pounds, but with this combination of engine and pulleys, we'd be over speeding the supercharger, which you don't want to do for explosion reasons, basically.
Sure, yeah.
Although, Nick, you were saying you've certainly done lots of these Rotax blowers at speeds in excess of the 100K limit that the C3094 recommends without blowing them up.
Most of my clients don't care about that limitation.
They just want more.
They go all the way. So.
We want to keep it reliable. Thank you, Nick, for taking care of our tuning once again.
For sure, anytime.
Appreciate it. Any of you guys out there in the GTA looking for Honda tuning, or really anywhere, you could remote tune too, I
do
suppose.
a lot of remote tuning all over North America and like Cayman Islands, all kinds of weird places. So,
There you go.
yeah.
If you live anywhere in the world and you have access to a dyno and you want the Honda guy to tune your Honda, look him up. Tuningbynick.com or .ca?
Both, actually.
Both. Woo. And of course, Tuning by Nick on YouTube.
Yeah.
Lots of cool videos of tuning Honda stuff, including 911s with K motors in them.
Yep.
I want a 996, everybody, with a K motor in it.
I think you should do it.
It's the best idea we've had this year. We couldn't leave this brand new championship white paint to the random act of gods and racetracks. If you've taken your car to the racetrack, you know there's always a lot of marbles from tires out there and guys cutting corners, dragging dirt onto the track, and then you're driving through a cloud of dirt and your brand new paint job gets chipped and otherwise damaged. And we didn't want that to happen to this car because, man, it is looking so good. It didn't make sense to abuse it in that way. So we took it to our buddy Norb at AP Shield for his track package, which protects all the high impact zones on the car with a paint protection film. And in this case, he used Suntex Reaction paint protection film, which is really high quality stuff. As you can see, it adds gloss and it has excellent clarity to it. So there's no orange peel added the way some of the lesser PPFs can have. And it also is self-healing. So if it gets little dings or scratches in it, just from the heat of the sun or from the engine, it will actually sort of fill itself back in again, which is pretty remarkable stuff. So now that she's so well protected, let's take her for a rip on the street and show you how she performs. All right, Peter, I guess the first thing we should talk about is the NVH, or noise, vibration, and harshness, which was so bad before that the audio in the car was destroyed. I'm in the same gear that I was at about the same engine speed as I was where the audio was wrecked before.
Yep.
And I'm pretty confident you guys will be able to hear us better now because the NVH is much lower.
It's amazing,
Much
right?
lower.
Like what a set of motor mounts can do. Rubber for the win. Like it's a completely different car.
It is.
It's stunning, right?
Yeah, it's drastically better. However, it's not as low NVH as your M3.
No,
There's still
no way,
some
no way.
vibration there. Like the K-Series engine is kind of harsh to begin with.
Yeah, the balance shafts are gone,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
you
so-
still have it. Actually, if you clutch it now, go to idle,
Yeah.
you can feel it at idle. It
You
still
can. Yeah,
produces
it's
that
a little bit of
vibration,
vibration
right?
when you're sitting
there it
out of the
is. You can feel it.
And you know that some of that might be from the hardened rubber bushing, but some of it's definitely just K-Series Honda life.
I think it's, yeah.
So,
yeah.
you have to be realistic that this car is never going to be as refined as your
Nope.
BMW, but
Nope.
you know what? I don't mind that. This car has a fizz to it physically and psychologically for me because it's, Type R inspired. So it does feel very alive underneath you. In fact, this car still holds the front-wheel drive naturally aspirated lap record around the Nürburgring. That's how hardcore the 8th
Wow.
Type R was.
Wow.
A very capable
It's
car.
a gem.
It is.
Certainly
It
a
is
gem.
a gem. And I think maybe now we got to give you a little bit of taste of supercharged power at PT.
Yeah,
right?
the noise is pretty amazing. Like, not gonna lie, that blower when you just
Does
hear it,
sound
it's
cool.
like whoosh.
Yeah, it feels
So,
special.
but yeah, I'm ready. Let's see what happens here. Oh my goodness, DP, this thing. Wow.
Woo! That's hectic, bro. That is hectic.
It's like rev for a second, it's just all rev limiter, just spinning
Wow.
the tire. It's incredible how hard it pulls up top when it obviously starts
Gets into-
making all that boost up there.
Exactly.
Like,
It just
wow.
pulls so hard all the way to redline. It doesn't feel like a turbo car at all, does it? It's
No,
got a much
no.
more linear power
It's like an
band.
NA car. It's essentially
Just
an NA car with
like
just
a 4.8 liter instead of a 2.4 liter.
Yeah,
it's,
yeah,
it's crazy.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
really good. And even in fourth gear here, when I just roll onto
Oh,
it,
wow, yeah.
like it feels so much faster than before.
It's brought the K24 alive.
It has.
Essentially,
It has.
it's no slouch anymore. Even at whatever that was, like 4,000 RPM, it feels good, man.
And I should mention that this clutch is actually very easy to modulate. Like I was warned by some people that, a 3-putt clutch is going to be really hard to launch.
Well, it's gonna have chatter,
Chatter,
the engagement.
It's going to just be difficult to use on the street. But we've both driven this car on the street a fair bit now, and it's actually very good. It's so good. In fact, at times I kind of forget that it's not the OE clutch. Like it is a light and flywheel, so you have to give it a little bit more revs.
Yep.
But once you've revved it up, it just feels like stock.
I drove it in stop and go traffic, very manageable. To that point, you just got to give it a little bit extra revs.
Yeah.
But for what it is, I would have no hesitation recommending it for somebody that's building, a more track-oriented car, but still wants to drive it on the street without a headache of feeling like you've got a race clutch.
Yeah, no, top marks there. All right, PT. Another little.
Oh man, it just instantly.
You have to really roll into the power. I'm looking down at the tach thinking I got to shift it like 8.5, but I forgot we've set the rev limiter down to like 7,500, haven't we?
Yeah. So you're gonna have to recalibrate your brain.
Got to rein in
that
the
K-Tech,
VTEC
the
mindset
K2
here
for
a little
life.
bit,
Yeah.
Man, it is spicy. It's quick. It's really. I think in a straight line, it's going to give the M3 a run for its money. It feels properly fast.
I think this amount of power is kind of perfect for this chassis.
It feels great. It doesn't feel like you're overpowering the car. It doesn't have like torque steer or anything crazy like that.
You can see it lights the tires up in second, which is typical in a front-wheel drive car with this kind of power, but it's still manageable. It's not like lighting them up where it's blowing them off right away.
Yeah, but it does feel very usable, very manageable, and it sounds rad. Like this full race exhaust has a really nice, clean, not overly aggressive sound. Like it's I don't feel like we're attracting the police right now with how loud the exhaust is.
I think this is the best sounding K motor that we've built ever with an exhaust sound. Like it's perfect. It doesn't have like that rasp.
No rasp.
It's just got such a deeper tone from a K. It's just like right away, man. God, like
dude, that's fun.
Up top, it just rips.
So good.
It's remarkable. Oh, listen to that thing. It sounds so good.
The Supercharger's got a cool sound to it too. Like in our FRS, we really couldn't hear the blower.
Yeah.
But in this car, you really hear it.
Yeah, because you've got the intake right in this
the
area here.
Yeah. That's really cool. And by the way, we should mention the NX Club Spec Pro dampers on here with their Sport Comfort valving ride so well.
My goodness.
Like these are the best riding track-oriented coilovers that we've tried yet, I think.
They've got the best of both worlds. I don't know how they've done it. And yes, we are sponsored by them, but I've never come across a suspension that has driven this well on the street, yet has amazing track performance. But whatever those guys are doing, they're doing it right.
They are. In fact, they have a video on their YouTube channel where they give you their whole backstory, and we really do recommend you go and check that out because it really communicates their passion for what they're doing there. These are not like, rebranded, relabeled offshore coilovers from some factory overseas. These are hand-built in the San Francisco Bay Area by true enthusiasts, guys like you and me, who just wanted a better product. They weren't happy with what they could find on the market. They really wanted to build bespoke dampers and coilover systems for the cars that they love, which happen to be the same cars that we love.
Yeah.
And they've really gone about it the right way. They spent a lot of time on R&D. They use really high-quality components, many of which are sourced from European brands, like the top brands you can think of over there, to really give you the quality you need on the internals. Anyway, go watch their video. It's really well done, and I think it will inspire you to want to give them a chance because what they're doing is really coming from the coilover design position of a true enthusiast. So
yeah, and we do offer a $125 discount code to kind of entice you guys. But I'm pretty sure you'll see that these coilovers, if they have them in your application, are certainly the way to go. And that's why we've been using them so often lately now, because we're just blown away. Like, our roads here suck, and to be able to have coilovers that don't, destroy your teeth is just such a nice, rewarding thing. And this car was on cheap, Godspeed coilovers before. It was terrible. We're essentially almost at the same ride height, just a tad higher. And look at it's just so good. It's so good, right? Like this car can be driven on the street. Like
you could daily drive it on this like track-oriented suspension.
Yeah,
it's really quite remarkable. And the roads here are absolutely horrendous. So awesome stuff. These K-Tune brakes, by the way, PT, are also really impressive. Initially, I was a little concerned that the brakes were too bitey.
Yeah.
But once we bedded in the
60s.
DTC 60s, the brakes are fantastic. I have a ton of stopping power. Modulation feels natural and normal and good. It just feels like a very responsive, powerful braking setup. So really happy with how it's feeling on the street. Obviously, we'll know more once we really push them to the limit at the racetrack. One of the other things I love about this car is how spacious it is inside and how comfortable it is as a road car, including this new bucket racing seat from Buddy Club. It's very comfortable. It's like they molded it to me. They designed it for a a slightly pudgy white guy, I guess, but it fits me remarkably well. This is their large seat, so they do offer it in a medium if you're, say, at 32 waist. I'm a 34 or 35 waist, depending on the day. And it fits very well, and I'm very comfortable in here. All right, PT, here's the ultimate test of ride quality. The railroad tracks right by our shop, like butter.
So much better.
Like
so much better than before.
And yes, I'm not gonna win the, sophisticated Euro vibe thing that you've got going on there in your very street-oriented build, but and this thing is going to be more of a heat score with the giant wing on the back than your safe gray M3 could pass for any old boring 3 Series. This thing has presence. It's got attitude. When you're driving it on the street, people are going to look at you like, "Hey, boy racer, why do you think you're so fast?" But I'm okay with that because I'm 12 years old inside, and this makes me feel good. It makes me feel alive. Well, guys, you've seen how much power it makes. You've seen how well it drives on the street, and wow, what a rocket ship this is. Putting a supercharger on a K24, literally the best idea in the world. This car is so much fun to drive, and it really is alive in a way that I didn't expect. It just feels so good. I've always liked this chassis, but I think I like it even more in FD2 style. I mean, this thing looks incredible. In fact, really, I think it turned out much nicer than we expected. If you rewind and think about how ratty this car looked when we first got it compared to how it looks now, it's a pretty mind-blowing transformation. However, that did not come without a cost. We definitely got deeper financially into this build than we imagined we would. And yes, we will give you a full breakdown on the cost of this build and of Pete's E90 M3 at the end of the track battle episode. So stay tuned for that, because we will fully disclose how close they were on price and just how far I may have gone over budget. But man, even if I did go over budget, I think you'll agree it was worth every penny, because this thing is incredible. It really is a dream Honda build for so many of us Honda heads out there who just really appreciate this sort of like, I think, the best modern Honda chassis that there is, at least Civic chassis that there is. It really is a beautiful car. It drives so well. So just super pumped on this. I don't frankly even care if I beat the M3 at the racetrack. I think I may, but if I don't, I will not be sad about it, because this car is so much fun to drive. It's so much more alive than the M3 to me, because of the fact that you've got engagement with 3 pedals and a shifter, and you've got some vibration, and you've got all the noises from the supercharger. It's not a quiet, sophisticated, grown-up car. This is a boy racer car, and I love everything about that. So, in fact, if you guys love everything about this build, you can even go and show a little support to us and to Import Bible, who we've collaborated with with some Speed Academy merch, including a t-shirt dedicated to this build-off. So jump over to their website and check that out if you want to know more. So there you have it, fellas. That is a wrap on this build, and what a build it's been. And I want to thank you all for watching. And most of all, I want to thank Turn 14 Distribution for sponsoring this build. Like I said, this is really a dream build for a Honda guy like me, and I think many of you out there. So thank you, Turn 14, for making dreams come true. And of course, you will see more of it after we dive into Pete's M3 build and take both cars to the racetrack. So still lots more action coming at you. So stay tuned, hit that like and subscribe, because you're not going to want to miss this.